Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. I am a professional intuitive empath. I'm an all-around life path 3 and I am so happy to share some energy with you today on this day that we are memorializing one Kobe Bryant. I, like the rest of you, watched the memorial today, but when he first passed, this tragic passing of Gigi, and the 7 other passengers in that helicopter, I started to do some research and I started to jot a few things down because the thing that I kept hearing about Kobe and the thing that I had personally enjoyed about watching his growth and his dedication was his steadfastness and his commitment to excellence. And so I began to get curious, like I think we all did, and began to consume a great amount of content about him. There are things that I had known because he always struck me to be a gentleman. And I'm going to leave that there. He struck me to be a gentleman. Maybe not a perfect man, but a gentle man. And I want to explain to you why he was exactly that. I took a look at his chart and I wanted to share the things that he was in hopes that we can extract from him, even if our placements are not the same as Kobe's placements. I wanted us to celebrate him. I wanted to put this video up a few weeks ago, but I felt that it wasn't the right time. I even talked to a friend about it, and I knew it wasn't the right time because we needed a moment to let the first wave of grief wash over us. As a collective, as a universe and a world, we all grieved that. I feel safe in saying that. I did. And I had paid attention to Kobe because I love polyglots and anybody speaking multiple languages. And so I thought, how fascinating that this basketball player is speaking Italian on the court and then Spanish and then like moving into English and doing it all with ease. I remember seeing him playing the Moonlight Sonata, which Alicia Keys played today so beautifully for him as a tribute. And I remember reading that fun fact. I love trivia and pop culture, so I just happen to know things about random things. But I remember reading that fun fact a while ago and thinking before he passed and thinking, what a neat, quirky, weird thing. This guy's really interesting. And so when he passed, I thought this is something that we all need to learn from. There are so many lessons in his life and the way that he lived it, and I wanted to share with you. Those were some of the things that I liked about him, besides him being amazing and Kobe and saying that and growing up and watching him ascend. But what I liked about him was that there was something, the work ethic is really what jumped out to me. Now, it makes perfect sense. He is a sun in Virgo. I've pulled up his chart here. I do believe, excuse me guys, I've been crying and everything, so I have my tissue. But I pulled up his chart here. He is a sun in Virgo, which directly attributes to the work ethic that he had, with a moon in Taurus, which directly attributes to the way that he felt about things and the way that he needed home to be and stability to be. His Mercury was in Leo, and that I think is why he was received so well. Leos are usually very gregarious, and Kobe, the word you heard everybody say, he was charismatic, and it felt like when he was talking to you, you're the only person. And we heard the people talk about the stories today in the memorial who had just texted him or where he was working to get someone a scholarship. Very magnanimous Leo energy, and that was his communication style. Mercury is about how we communicate. That planet is a planet of communication. Coincidentally, we are currently in a Mercury retrograde, and I believe that we were entering into it when Snoop and Gail had their altercation. Miscommunications or direct communications, depending on how you chose to look at that. Some people claim miscommunications, some people didn't. I only mention that because our astrology affects so many areas that we don't think it does. And in that moment, I think we all understood Snoop's emotion. Okay, I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but I think all of us were a little bit taken aback. What I will say here is that Kobe valued honesty and straightforwardness. And if he were here to answer that question, I do believe he would have answered it with compassion and honesty because that was his nature. And in the Mercury in Leo, it was also his communication style. His Venus is in Libra. Now, makes so much sense for the family man we saw before us. Venus is our love style. It's the way that we love a partner. It's the way that we show up. And Libra happens to be one of the best signs of the zodiac for coupledom. They really love couplehood. They thrive in couplehood. So his love style was Vanessa, as we can tell today when she disclosed about the blue dress that he bought her from the notebook and the shoes and the notebook itself to symbolize the scene when they return back together because they realize that they really love each other and they can never be apart. Oh my gosh, whose heart didn't melt? I mean, I cried all day. Let's just say that. I cried all day. I think a lot of us did watching it. But that Venus in Libra is why he loved in that style. The thing that comes up here is Mars in Libra, which is about the communication style, which is about him thinking things had to be fair and balanced. That's the way that he played on the court. I mean, he played with his whole heart. He left everything on the court, as we know, but in every game and in every moment. But that Mars is why. Because he definitely felt like if he was willing to work for it, it needed to be. His Jupiter is in Cancer. Cancer in Jupiter, I think, is very well aspected because Jupiter is the gift, the planet of expansion and gifts. Cancer deals with nurturing, home, and family. Do you see the story that's told here with Kobe regarding how he loved his family? With that Cancerian energy, he was a love bug. He was a teddy bear. He was a sweetheart. And I think we all saw that with being a proud girl dad, being a proud girl dad coach, being a real romantic with Vanessa. That when I saw the Jupiter in Cancer, I thought, I understand. I understand. I understood. And there's a lot of nuance to this, guys. This is just my quick overview of this, but I wanted to celebrate him and teach us a little bit about why he was so great and what we can take from that. No matter where our placements are. His Saturn was in Virgo, which in Virgo and Saturn, both earth energy, but not necessarily the most well aspected there. And so I feel like he definitely worked harder at things and learned tough lessons and was fastidious. It's why he was calling Michael Jordan at 3 and 2 and 5 in the morning, as he said today, asking for tips about Gigi and asking for tips about how to be better. That Virgoian energy in his sun and in his Saturn means that he was relentless about perfection. He had a commitment to be perfect. He had a commitment to figure out the manual. That is my Virgos out there. You guys know you're the one that reads the manual back to front. You don't just pour the things out of the box and assemble. You do some investigation. So that is the energy that shows up for him here. And then we have Uranus in Scorpio. Scorpio is about death and transformation, that sign. It's about sexuality, death, transformation. Uranus is a planet of surprises, sometimes accidents. And though I have not gone in to do a natal chart at his time when he and the others so tragically passed, and I'm not going to. I feel like there will be a lot of people that do that, and I don't want to exploit that. I want to talk about the positive things. But when I saw the Uranus in Scorpio, just intuitively, I understood that. And again, please seek out another astrologer, an astrologer that wants to go in depth there. And I've seen them on here, so you guys can find them on this platform. But I definitely understood that this accident had to do to me with some of that Uranus and Scorpio energy. And that doesn't mean I want to cause alarm for anybody that may have that placement. It shows up in many ways. We saw it show up in his earlier life with what he dealt with and what he was alleviated from or found to be not held liable for. That Uranus and Scorpio energy very much deals with that situation as well. Neptune and Sagittarius, that was his desire to learn those languages, to travel. But Neptune deals with illusions, and it deals with not understanding always the truth. Neptune can sometimes be a little bit murky. And his Pluto was in Libra, his North Node in Virgo, very Earth energy, and Chiron in Taurus. Chiron is also known, Chiron shows up as a wounded healer as well. So a lot of the the lessons for him were about understanding what his possessions were. It was highly noted the struggle between him and parents and money that was given. That Chiron the Wounded Healer is about childhood, early childhood trauma, making connections to relationship behaviors and patterns. So when we look at Kobe's chart, the things that stood out to me about his work ethic were that Sun in Virgo, also the Mercury in Leo. Leo decides they want to ascend, they want to climb, they want to be the star. So in his communication style, he was that. Is it any winner? I believe he won an Emmy, was it? Or an Oscar? So, oh my gosh, guys, don't kill me. For the, goodness, excuse me, what's my terrible phrasing of words there? The please forgive me for that, for the animated film about basketball that he did. So I feel like that was definitely attributed to that. This is just, again, a quick overview, but the thing that we really loved about Kobe was the Venus in Libra. That was that family man that we got to see emerge in the last like 10 years of his life. And the other thing I believe is that Jupiter in Cancer also family oriented. That Saturn in Virgo though really did speak to his work ethic and his desire to figure out to move forward and to be in a place where he was the consummate perfectionist. That's what I took away from Kobe. He didn't care if you liked him, but somehow you did. And he was willing to work hard for what he wanted and to make sacrifices. Also, very Virgoian energy. I will sacrifice in order to move forward and in order to better myself. It is the great tragedy that we didn't get to see the second half because, my goodness, he was off to a heck of a start for the second half. And the way that he was with his daughter, all of his daughters, not just Gigi, but with Gigi, there is something special. And Vanessa alluded to that today in the memorial service when she said, with her voice cracking, with strength I can't imagine, God knew that he had to take them both because they couldn't be on this earth without each other. So I don't have answers for why things like this happen. But I wanted to just come on here and say we can take a few lessons from his life and the way that he chose to live and the way that even when mistakes were made in his life, he chose to correct them, apologize for them, and be integral in all things. No one had a bad word to say, not just because he was one of the greatest of all time, but because his character walked into the room before he did. It speaks for itself. Yeah. So celebrate him. And even if you don't have Virgo placements in your chart, understand that a work ethic can be cultivated by any sign. We all have areas of weaknesses and areas of strength. And you can have the connection with your work, your passions, and your love in the way that Kobe did by being dedicated relentlessly, even in your discomfort, your pain, and remaining endlessly curious as he did. The Black Mamba taught us to be persistent and to attack our goals. That's what the Black Mamba was about. That snake that will attack without being provoked. And the snake, I pulled a card here for that, is about being a healer and a teacher. And that's what Kobe was. Kobe was initiated and he was powerful. And when I say he was initiated, I mean he took on the mantle of leader. And when we go through transformations and when we are dealing with growth, sometimes there will be this painful moment. But Kobe taught us that even in his pain and in his training and in sprained ankles when he's still shooting free throws and all the rest of it, that you push through because that pain is temporary. But the gratitude that you have for yourself, the self-efficacy that you develop by following through and completing and finishing everything you start with a voracious energy, that is invaluable. And that is what makes you not one of the best, but amongst the greatest. We love you, Kobe. Our hearts go out. Send love and energy to Vanessa and all those babies. Send love and energy to all of the people that were lost in that terrible crash. I can't even begin. And I don't want to start crying again, but what I will say is that he left a legacy that is so much bigger than I don't even think he could even imagine what he did. And if you have any of those placements in your chart, optimize them, maximize them, right? And if you don't, cultivate the Mamba mentality. Kobe left us all a blueprint. You got to work hard. You got to push past yourself. You got to push past the pain. You have to persevere. And then you can say, I left it all on the court. And that's how we all should live our life. In his example, in his shadow, we should live our life saying, I left it all on the court. Rest in peace, Kobe, Vanessa, and the others that lost their life. We love you and we will learn from you probably for the rest of our lives. Thank you guys for joining me. Come back and we will continue to evolve together.